Well, hello and welcome to Ask the Doctor. My name's Jerry McGee and I'll be the host for today's show. We're here with Dr. Corey Altabed of Painkiller Hands in Meadville, Pennsylvania. We have a very, very exciting show for you today because it's going to deal with a topic that everybody deals with and probably does not have a good understanding of what the problem actually is, and that is the common headache. I know we all get them. Might be at work, different times, kids, whatever. But I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about headaches. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, kind of the headache in general, what your philosophy is, and things that can help us better understand this thing called a headache.
Well, one of the most important things to understand about a headache is that it's not caused by an aspirin deficiency or a Tylenol deficiency. And the reason I say that is because most headaches are actually caused by a muscle problem. Okay? And what I mean by that is the muscles become so painful, they'll actually shoot pain into your head. And muscle type of problems require muscle treatments. And what I mean by that is because it's a structure problem, it requires physical treatment. It's a physical problem. You need physical treatment. So using a chemical to actually treat a physical problem isn't always the best thing to do, because all you're doing is masking the pain. The chemical just blocks the brain from feeling pain. It's actually not fixing the structure. That makes them, if the structure's off, the muscles are going to suffer and they're going to shoot pain into the head. So by fixing the structure, you're going to get the best results in treating the most common type of headache, which is a muscle tension type of headache. And that's pretty much the basic philosophy.
Okay, because I know a lot of our viewers today are probably used to what you said. I have a problem, let's just take an aspirin, take a Tylenol, let's treat the symptom, versus truly look at what the cause of our problem is and have long-term relief. And I know that's one of the things that you stress here. Now, when we talk about this thing of treating, say, the muscles in the neck for a headache, what are we talking about with a treatment type, or what is your kind of technique that you found great results with treating people with headaches?
Well, what we try to focus on primarily is balancing out the structure. So we're going to treat both the muscles and the bones, and we do that because they're attached to each other. Okay, so when the muscles are tight, it's going to pull that bone unevenly, it's going to twist it off to the side, and that's going to make the muscles actually have to work even harder on the other side, and then the nerves, the muscles get so tight, they get irritated, and then they're going to get so irritated, they're going to start irritating nerves, and when the muscle overworks, what they're going to do is they're going to give off too much exhaust, because like a car gives off exhaust when it works, so do muscles. But when that muscle overworks, it gives off so much exhaust that it doesn't escape, and that irritates the muscle, and it builds up, and it forms a part of like a little ball in the muscle. Because what happens is the irritation that's caused by that exhaust makes the muscle contract in a very small spot, like a little bubble right there. Like if my whole arm was a muscle, what happens is that little irritant, the exhaust, it makes that little part of the muscle contract a little bubble, and it shortens the muscle, right? You see my arms come together? It shortens it, and that's what tugs, say the bone's attached right here, it shortens and it pulls the bone out of place. So once you get that little bubble in there, that little knot, I call them trigger points. Actually many people call them trigger points. And what that bubble will do is it gets so irritated, it'll shoot pain into many different directions. And that's often called referred pain. And so a muscle in your neck, when it gets that irritated enough to cause a trigger point, it'll shoot the pain in very common patterns that we all know about. They start here and it wraps all the way up around the head and comes right up front. Or it can even start from here and go into the eye and even imitate a sinus pressure. And they can even be in the shoulders up here and shoot pain all the way up into the eyes again, or into the back of the head. And I've seen them actually shoot pain from as low as down here in the upper back. And the best way to treat these things is to actually treat these trigger points. And of course, what I do is we do like a search and destroy method. With very specific skills that we develop over a long period of time to be able to find the exact point that's causing your headache. We have a certain, there's a certain way to do that by communicating with the patient and asking them, well, does the pressure pain equal the actual complaint pain? And in that way we can zero in the exact spot by feeling it, and I can feel it, and then when we press on it, that actually induces an extra amount of blood flow by something that's actually been encoded in your DNA for millions of years. It's an actual response that's typical in the body. It's called reactive hyperemia, which is a fancy word that all that really means is that the body responds by increasing blood flow in that area. And once that extra blood flow comes in after I release my finger from the pressure point, which is right on that little tiny trigger point, the blood flow comes whooshing in and has like a washing effect. And remember the actual exhaust we talked about, those, the products of, working that muscle? Well, the blood flow washes out that excess exhaust. And once it does that, it allows that knot in that muscle to relax because it's not irritating. The exhaust is not irritating the muscle anymore. So once that muscle relaxes, well, look what happens. It lengthens the muscle. And if the muscle is longer, it's not going to tug on that bone in your spine anymore. And so right after that, right after we treat the muscle, not only is that going to stop the referred pain, which is that pain that shoots up into your head, it's going to allow us to adjust that bone and let that bone stay in place longer because we treated the muscles. Now, for example, if we didn't treat that muscle like that and release it and find all the trigger points in that muscle, it will continue to tug on that bone, and that bone would be pulled out of place again. And that just sets up the whole cycle again. The muscle gets tighter and tighter and tighter because it has to work harder because it's trying to move a bone that's not correctly positioned. And then that irritates everything all over again, and the toxins build up on the muscle and create those trigger points, and then the pain shoots up to the top of the head. And once again, that's called referred pain. When pain shoots from an area to another area that actually there's no problem in their head. It's just that the pain is actually coming from somewhere else, and that's called referred pain. Now, referred pain, it's not really a well-known topic. And what I mean by that is no one really knows exactly why pain shoots away from an area and how it does it. Because it doesn't follow a nerve. It's not traveling down a nerve, it's not traveling down a muscle because it skips over muscles, plenty of them. So, with there's many theories out there of why it happens, the same embryonic origin, stuff like that, but, it's just unknown at this point. But the most important part is that we can treat it. I'm not really that crazy about figuring out why it happens.
Right.
The fact that I can treat it very easily and rapidly by just applying a little bit of pressure to the trigger point, which sets it up for that reactive hyperemia, and that gets the blood flow going, washes out the toxins, and boom, instant relief, and you're up and running.
So that person that's watching this right now, right, and has maybe dealt with headaches off and on. You get a lot of people, they're stressed out at work, they're getting headaches. They're just they're dealing with it, like you said, popping the Tylenol, aspirin all day long. Really to get that person in here to look at their structure, look at the muscles involved, they can be looking at a long-term relief versus a short-term fix.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think what people need to understand about the human body is, one, it can definitely heal itself.
Right.
If you give it what it needs. Doesn't need outside chemicals to do that. And what you're doing is really allowing the body to get to that point where it does what it does best.
Absolutely.
Right? It's basically, take care of itself. So, people that are watching this today, if you've been dealing with headaches, and one of the other things that I wanted to bring up that you mentioned is that a lot of times I think people, when you talk about sinus headaches, all these headaches, they're kind of thinking that's what they are. But like you said, that very easily could still be a structural neck problem versus a sinus, headache, just because of the referred.
And many times, you can actually get a headache not from referred pain, but also from a pinched nerve, because in the upper neck there is a nerve called the occipital nerve, and it comes right out on the top of the spine, and it travels up to the top of your head, and that can get pinched by tight muscles. the muscles literally put pressure on the nerve and pinch it. And of course, since I know how to release muscles, very simply, we can release that, and then it takes pressure off the nerve, and the headache goes away just like that. Now, other factors. Remember, we talked about a holistic cause. What's the causes of all these headaches? Now, sometimes if we're treating a patient and we're getting rid of most of the headaches, but they're a lot less often, but they still get a couple. Well, then at that point, we might actually introduce, changing their diet. Things like that. Other lifestyle factors that can actually help promote headaches. And teach them how to get rid of excess inflammation in their body, which is one of the key things.
So again, I think it really comes down to, as a person, taking responsibility for my health, not looking for an outside source to fix it. We have to take an active role. So it's going to involve some treatment here for trigger point release, maybe some changes, in our personal life out there. I think it's important for people to understand this total approach. If you're truly looking for long-term relief and a great success story, then I think you need to pick up the phone, visit the website at Painkiller Hands, give Dr. Altabet a call, come into the office, discuss your situation with him. I think you're going to be amazed at the results you can see. So if you've been dealing with those chronic headaches, come in, take a different approach, look at the alternatives that are available to you, and see if you can't have the great results that you're getting out of the clinic. So thank you very much for this education on headaches. I think a lot of people truly don't understand the cause and where it's coming from, and we hope this was able to really kind of shed some light on it and give them some alternatives. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being with us today, and check back for our next episode of Ask the Doctor, where we'll be covering some more just tremendous topics and things that you're probably dealing with on a daily basis. So thank you very much for watching.